Why do you guys keep making me cry? This yarn ended up bamboozling me in the end. We're back up to a high with this one, baby. Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel and welcome to my Advent series. In case you are just now clicking on this one and you haven't watched the other two, this is just a little series where I am opening, well, it was supposed to be one yarn every day leading up to Christmas. It turns out that it's more like 2 or 3 yarns every day leading up to Christmas, which is so exciting. And these yarns are sent to me by you guys. So can you see under my tree that almost all of my presents are wrapped, which is really exciting. It's looking very pretty under there. I still have a few more to do, but it has been, I was about to say it's been a long day. It is 9:30 a.m. on Monday, day 15 of this series. But it was one of those Mondays where everything was going wrong. So I decided I'm going to cheer myself up by opening some very special yarn, which they're all special, but I know for sure that this one's going to be good because I've gotten yarn from this person before and she hand dyes her own yarn. And I suspect that that's probably what is inside. My daughter, who is the one who labeled all the packages for me, was having a really hard time understanding how many were in here. Like she was having a hard time telling which ones were the same as each other and which ones were different. Anyway, all that to say, I'm just going to go ahead and open the whole package right now. Before I open it, let me check the note here. So this person not only hand dyed all of the yarn, she also hand spun the yarn, which is amazing. That is so exciting. And it is all merino wool with sari silk, which we did try sari silk last week and it didn't go very well, but we're going to hope that this is different since it is blended with merino wool. Okay, so this is the first one here, which is, I feel like it's coming across as black on camera. It looks more dark blue in person. So it has the dark blue base and then the other colors throughout, which is absolutely gorgeous. So that's the first one. And then we have another one that is the same. So we've got 2 skeins of that. Absolutely beautiful. And then we have this lighter blue color. So it's the same sort of textures, you know, the same makeup, I believe, but it's just a different color. So this one is a lighter blue than with the gold flecks throughout. Oh my goodness, gorgeous. Okay, we have 2 more in here. Okay, so this is again a blue, but it is a more medium blue. So this one is more of a navy, and then this is more of a medium blue. Again, this looks almost black. I can't actually tell. What does it say on there? It says dark blue. So this is a dark blue, and then this is a medium blue is what she has marked there. And then there's one more. Okay, so that one's also a medium blue. So my daughter was a little bit confused. There are 5 skeins in here, but 2 of them are the same here in this dark blue shade. One is in this kind of teal blue. What did she call it? Light blue. And then 2 are in this medium blue. Oh my goodness. This is so exciting to try a hand spun, hand dyed yarn here. So the first step obviously is going to be to wind these up and then we will get started. I can't decide if I want to just combine all of this into one square. I think that's what I'm going to do. Is since they all are the same yarn, just different colors, I'm going to combine this into one square. And that way I have a lot of yarn left over to do other fun things with. That way I'm not using up too much of this yarn for the sample. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wind these up and make one square with 3 different colors. Okay, actually, before we get started on the crocheting, I got so excited to get started that I didn't even read these labels that she provided for me. So some of them are actually different sizes from each other. So these 2 are both, she said, approximately a weight 5 with different thicknesses throughout. Then this one here is approximately a size 2 to 3. And then this one is also approximately a size 2 to 3. And then this one here is a size 5 with the different thicknesses. And so I should probably take that into account and actually make different squares. So I think what I'm going to do is make a square with both of these that are the size 5. So a multicolored square with these 2. And then these are both a 2 to 3, so then we'll make a multicolored square with these two. That way they match up in the thicknesses. I just got really excited, okay? I got really excited, I'm gonna be honest, and I did not stop to read. But now I have read. I'm glad I paid attention to that first before I just started crocheting, and they were gonna be all different thicknesses. It would have been a wonky little square there. So we're gonna be making actually 2 separate squares. But first we got to wind this up. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I will finally get started on the crocheting. Can you tell I'm very excited? Okay, you guys, I did finish my 2 squares, and oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. But if you hear some weird rustling sounds, it is because there's a squirrel, and maybe multiple squirrels, that are getting into our attic somehow and rustling around up there. And there's supposed to be people coming out to figure out how they're getting in and to like take care of that situation. But oh my goodness, they're having a Christmas party up there right now. So if you hear them, I apologize. I keep starting to film and then it'll make the noise and I'll stop and start again. You know what? We're just going to let them have their party and we're just going to continue on talking about these amazing yarns. Let's talk about this square first. Oh my gosh. Looking at it in the camera, it is just so beautiful, and it's beautiful in real life as well. I mean, I have no words. It's just so beautiful. I love that these 2 colors together, and then with the gold flakes throughout, it looks like a night sky or something like that. It's very, very beautiful. The texture, so nice. Now, this yarn was the one that is approximately a size 5 bulky and has the different thicknesses throughout. And I've had a lot of yarns like that in this series so far, where some of the yarn is more thin, some of it's more thick. And sometimes I like that better than others. I will say that sometimes it just makes it a little bit hard to like know what hook size to use, or to like, if you're pulling through with a thicker section in a stitch that was previously like a thinner section, if that makes sense. Like sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult. I did not find this difficult to work with at all. It is just, the end result is so, so beautiful that I again want to cry. What's going on? Why do you guys keep making me cry? It's just so beautiful. And I just appreciate it so much because I know that the effort that this person went through to make this yarn themselves, I love it. Now, she did say that this is sari silk through here. And like I said, from last week, there was a yarn that was sari silk and I ended up not really liking that one. But this one is a completely different texture. So this one, that one felt like more like twine. It was really stiff. This is not stiff at all. It really has that just soft squishiness to it that merino wool has. I don't notice really the gold flakes at all. They do kind of stick up a little bit in this yarn, if you can see that, but it really just adds to this lovely texture. She did recommend a couple different project ideas. She did say that this is one that you want to like hand wash and lay flat to dry. So she suggested maybe making something that doesn't have to be washed as often, like a bag, or perhaps like a pillow, like a throw pillow or something like that. I'm definitely thinking the throw pillow option for this one would be really, really pretty. I'm not sure yet though. If you guys have any other ideas, of course, let me know. I don't have as much of the thicker yarn. I do have more of the thinner yarn, but let's talk about that thinner yarn, which is this square right here, which by the way, on this, I did use a 6.5 hook. I just kind of guessed at what would be the best. I probably could have gone up a hook size, but it worked just fine there. And then this one I use a 5mm on, and this is the one that's, she said, between a 2 and a 3 approximately on the sizing. And as you can see, this darker blue color is very similar to the darker blue color of this one, but it's just a different weight there. So it has the gold throughout. And then there are some other colors as well, like a little bit of purple right there. And then the more kind of turquoisey blue there also has different colors throughout. It's mostly the gold, I would say. It just looks so beautiful. This kind of turquoisey aqua blue is one of my favorites. I absolutely love that. And I would say that the textures are pretty similar. This one does feel a little bit softer in the end than this one. This one was just an absolute breeze to work with. I mean, again, what do I say other than like, are you kidding me? It's beautiful and gorgeous and I love it. I have to find something to make with this one as well. I do have, like I said, a lot more of this one. I did use my winder, and with this one, winded just fine. Can you see? It's a beautiful cake. And then for some reason, my winder just really did not like this thicker yarn. And so I kind of had to do that myself. And then when I was winding the thinner dark yarn, my Swift decided it wanted to get things all tangled up. It was a whole nightmare, but we got there in the end. I do have like several different balls of this. It is what it is. I am going to find some amazing projects for this. I do not know yet what that is, but oh my goodness, just so, so gorgeous. She did suggest maybe a pillow or a bag. I don't really make a lot of bags. If you guys have some really good bag patterns that this might look good on, please let me know, because that would be gorgeous to maybe make like a little crossbody, like throw your phone. The squirrels are back. If you have a good pattern for a bag that's like a crossbody, like throw your phone and your keys and wallet, kind of like smaller bags, maybe something like that. I don't know. Any suggestions? Of course, I'm always open, but like, I just can't get over how beautiful this is. This definitely cheered me up on a day that I was feeling quite stressed. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was a very stressful Monday morning, and this definitely brightened my day. Thank you so much to the person who sent this. I didn't ask if I could say her name, but thank you so, so much. This is absolutely beautiful. And you know that I will be your #1 fan if you ever decide to sell your wares. So that is a wrap on day 15, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hello, you guys. Welcome to day 16. I have to say that yesterday's yarn was definitely the highlight of my day. Yesterday, it was a pretty rough day all around, but that yarn was pretty amazing. So today is starting off slightly better, so that's good. But today's package is from someone that is in my Discord, and I know that she has good taste in yarn, so I'm really excited to see what she sent me. I believe this package has 5 different yarns in it. I am going to open, I think, 2 today, and then we'll do 3 tomorrow. But first, she has a little package here of extra, so let's open that first, actually. Ooh, okay. So these are zippers that are specifically yarn zippers. So it makes it easier to be able to like knit or crochet into them. I've seen these before. I've actually never worked with a zipper before, but this makes it, I feel like, so much easier if you're making a crocheted garment that needs a zipper, which I have been thinking about making a bag. Maybe we'll make a bag with a zipper on it and try this out. We'll see, but thank you so much. Okay, let's get to the first yarn, which is wrapped up like a little candy. That's so cute. Ooh, okay, so this actually is a yarn that I have tried, which I do think was, you know, kind of bound to happen eventually in this series, to try something that I have already tried before, which I tried this in the video where I tried your favorite yarns. I know this is a very beloved one. It is the Cotton Kings from Hobbii, which is the type of yarn where it is just loose strands here. And this one's really pretty because it has pink in the middle and then blue. These are definitely my colors for sure. We'll get a closer look at this in a minute, but let's go ahead and open the second yarn for the day. Reach in here. Okay, this is Premier, I can tell. I think it's cotton. Some Premier cotton yarn. That's really exciting. I've never tried this before, and it is in a gorgeous pink shade. I love that. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at these before we get started. Okay, so this is the Cotton Kings by Hobbii, as I mentioned. And like I said, I have tried this yarn before. The one that I tried was a solid shade, whereas this one is a beautiful variegation from pink into blue. I love these colors. Now, I will say that when I'm making this square square here, because the variegation is so slow, we probably won't see any of it. We will just see the pink. And also there is a nice little beginning start little pull tab here, which we love. That makes it so easy to find the center, no yarn barf. This is 100% cotton yarn. It has 874 yards in here, so that is quite a bit of yardage. It says to use a 3.524 millimeter crochet hook. It is a size 2 fine. And what I will say is that when I tried this the last time, it is just really difficult to keep all of those strands together because they are not spun together at all. They are just loose here, which I found a little bit difficult. But I will say that I have learned a lot more about keeping yarns from splitting since I made that video. I have learned a lot more. So hopefully this goes a little bit better. We will see. So I am obviously going to give this a try and hope for the best. And then we have this cotton yarn from Premier, which I've only tried, I think, the cotton that you can get at the Dollar Tree. Oh, and the other cotton Premier yarn that I tried was, I think it was called Chameleon. It was a color changing yarn that I just found at the thrift store. And I absolutely loved that yarn. It was so soft and easy to work with. But anyway, this one is the Cotton Fair Bulky. It is 153 yards. It is 52% cotton, 48% acrylic. So it is a blend. It does feel quite soft in the skein here. This color is called Bubblegum. And I think I already mentioned this is a size 5 bulky. So let's go ahead and get started on the crocheting, and I'll tell you what I think about these. Okay, you guys, I got my 2 squares done, and isn't it wild that they are almost the exact same shade of pink? That is so funny. Anyway, so let's talk about this one first, which is the Cotton Kings one. Listen, this is just one of those yarns that is peak. I get it for other people. I'm just not sure that it's for me. So I did start off by using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, and then doing my yarn under, which you guys know that I am a yarn under girl for life. It's literally just how I learned to crochet. And so it's just how I automatically do it. But I did end up switching to a 4 millimeter hook and doing yarn over, and I had much less trouble that way, because when I was using the smaller hook and the yarn under, I was fighting for my life. But doing the bigger hook and the yarn over did help some. Now, it did still split for me here and there. And what I will say is, again, this makes a lovely drapey fabric. And I think that's the thing that people like the most about this type of yarn, is that because it's not tightly spun or wound or whatever the word is, it creates just this light as air feeling to it. A lot of people like making shawls or just really drapey garments. And I understand that. I do think that this, I mean, you can see like it doesn't hold its shape. It's very much more floppy than your traditional cotton yarn might be. But for me, again, once I switched it up and used the bigger hook and the different method, it was easier, but I still was having to really slow down and really pay attention. And I mean, there's something to be said about that, about just like the meditative aspect of crochet and just like slowing down. But I think for me, what I'm running into is that because it's going against what I normally do, it's a little bit less relaxing, if that makes sense. And I'm really having to concentrate and think about what I'm doing, as opposed to a lot of times when I pick up a crochet project, I want to just be able to not think that much about it, just watch some TV, you know what I mean? And I know that different people are different when it comes to crochet. Some people want that concentration and they want to do really detailed work and all of that. And, you know, again, different strokes for different folks. I respect that for other people, but for me, it's just, I love not being able to think about what I'm doing and just being able to just watch a show and have my hands busy. And this is just not the type of yarn that I would be able to do that with. Now, another thing is, can you see that there are several places where even if the yarn didn't split, it's doing the thing where, you know, it's sticking out like that, where you can see the fact that it is very loosely spun strands there. They're just kind of separated even in the finished work. And actually on camera, it looks a lot better than it does in person. But I don't know. I think that that's just not my favorite look. Again, I think that there's a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people that love this yarn. It was on y'all's most favorite yarn list when I tried it in that video. So I know that this yarn has basically a cult following. I know a lot of people love this yarn in particular. I think that it's called Sultan, Cotton Sultan, something like that on the listing on Hobie. It says Cotton Kings on the listing, but I think that is called Sultan. And I know a lot of people love this, and for good reason. I do think it makes a lovely fabric. It is a nice texture. It's just not for me personally. And I hate to say that, but that's just my honest opinion. I wish that I liked it because I love these colors, and I actually still have the other skein on my shelf, and it's purple, and it would go together perfectly. I'm thinking about possibly doing some sort of giveaway with yarns that are really good yarns like this one, but that are just not for me. I'm thinking about doing that at some point in the new year, so maybe stay tuned for that one. And so I don't want to make the person who sent this feel bad because, again, a lot of people like this. It's just personally not for me. I am happy to say, though, that I really like this Cotton Fair. Is that what it's called? From Premier. I love this one. It is so easy to work with. I thought that it was perhaps also going to be a splitty yarn, but it really wasn't. I was about to say like, look at how loose it looks, but it really doesn't look that loose. But I just have had this problem with cotton yarns in the past, and some are better than others in terms of splitting, but this one did not split for me at all. I love the texture. Now, this is a blend. It's a cotton acrylic blend, so that kind of helps. And honestly, though, with cotton acrylic blends, sometimes I like them and sometimes I don't as well. It kind of just all depends on the yarn itself, but I really like this one. And I know that Cotton Fair, or I think anyway, the Cotton Fair comes in different sizes. So I'd be curious to try some other sizes as well. This is the bulky size, which with it being so thick like this, I'm like, what do I make out of this? And she did send me 3 skeins of this. Once again, I feel like a bag would be a really good choice in this because it is so thick and it's at least partially cotton, so it'll keep its shape pretty well. So I don't know, maybe that, we'll see. And of course, I'm always taking your suggestions, but I absolutely love that these are both pink. And, you know, again, while this yarn is just not for me, I do appreciate the experience, and I do, again, love the color, love the texture. It's one of those yarns that I really wish that I liked, but I just don't, unfortunately. So that is a wrap on day 16, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 17. Hello, you guys, me again. I was filming the outro for another video, which you guys will see soon. And I figured since I'm already all set up right here, let's just go ahead and open today's advent. I'm just going to be opening the rest of the same package from yesterday. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I think that these two are the same yarn as each other. There is a little label here that says what it is, which we'll read in a minute. But let's go ahead and open this up. This is some yellow yarn here, some yellow chenille, which I feel like the camera is having a hard time picking up the color of. I do have like my bright lights on today because it's really cloudy out, but it's making this look like almost cream, but it's actually a nice butter yellow here. And then some more pink yarn. I think this person likes pink as much as I do. So we have some pink and yellow here. And the label here does say that it is Yarnsmith Snug as a Bug. And it is a super chunky, like size 7, it says here, Recommended hook size 8mm. It says that the price is $7 to $13 depending on sales. Okay, so I've never tried anything from Yarnsmiths before, I don't think. So this should be fun. This one also tells me what it is on the outside, but let me look at it first. Okay. This is Walmart bags. Yeah, okay. This is Walmart bags as yarn. I have never crocheted with this before. Let me actually read this. So plastic bag yarn, Plarn, made with Walmart bags. I have no idea about hooks, yarn sizes. My guess is a size 6. And she said it's also not pink. Lame. So she was purposely sending me pink yarn. I love that. Okay, so this should be interesting. I know a lot of people will reuse their plastic bags and make yarn with it, but what do you do with a plastic bag project? I don't know. We're gonna experiment with it though. Okay, I think this is the last one in here. Ooh, okay, what is this? Clockwork Fiber Co., which is also a pink yarn. I love that. This does say it is a DK weight. It is superwash Shiniko wool. I don't know exactly what that means. Is this another type of sheep that I don't know about? I don't know. But it does say that it is a blend of merino and some type of sheep, again, that I can't really pronounce. Yeah, but this feels really, really nice. And the colors are like different tones of pink. Ooh, that is so pretty. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the crocheting. I'm going to go ahead and start with these two. And I am going to move over to my couch today to do the crocheting because I'm tired. So I'm going to go ahead and get comfy cozy on my couch. We'll start with this one and then we'll move on to that Plarn, and then of course we'll end it on this lovely yarn right here. So I'm gonna go do that. Okay, you guys, I do have all 3 of my squares done here, and this was quite the roller coaster ride of an experience today. But we will start off by talking about this one, the Yarnsmiths Snug as a Bug. First of all, look at that square. It is as big as my face almost. It is so easy to work with. I had no issues whatsoever with the crocheting, and I did go ahead and sew in all of my ends to see if this was going to be the type of chenille yarn that sheds, and I'm happy to say that it does not shed. Let me show you a little piece here. And you can see that putting friction on it, it's not falling apart at all, which is amazing. So I would say that this is kind of similar to a Bernat blanket in thickness and in the fact that it is pretty structurally sound. It doesn't shed, but it's a little less stiff than a Bernat blanket. It didn't bother my wrist at all to work with. It is nice and soft. I really, really like this. I did look this up, and it is one of those that you can find some different places, and it does vary in price, like the person was saying in the beginning. So I would consider repurchasing this if I needed like a really nice thick yarn that's not too stiff. Now, I always talk about how Bernat blanket is kind of stiff when it comes to a chenille yarn, but it kind of depends on the line of Bernat blanket you get, I will say. And I do feel like they've reformulated over the years to be softer than they used to be. When I first tried that yarn, I didn't love it just because of how stiff it is. I do think it's softened up over the years, but as chenille yarns go, a Bernat blanket is more on the structured side. And this one, like I said, is still structured, but is a little bit more soft and a little bit more malleable, for lack of a better word. So I really, really like this. Something I do not like is this. Oh my goodness. I love the idea of reusing plastic bags and finding a purpose for them. I just don't know that This is the purpose for me. If you love working with plastic bag yarn, I love that for you. But I have some questions for you. First of all, what do you make with it? I just don't know. Like, would you make a bag with the bags? But then it was already a bag, so why would you need to turn the bag into something to make a bag? I don't know. I'm confused about what you would do with this. So please let me know what you would make with this type of yarn. I only made it 2 rounds, and the main reason is because this irritated my left hand where the yarn, plarn, whatever you want to call it, was running so badly. It was so irritating to work with, and also the crinkling sound. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I will do with the rest of this. Again, I love the idea of recycling Walmart bags or plastic bags in general. I often get some and don't really know how to reuse them. I mean, I use them for picking up Lily's dog poop, and I use them for like lining small trash cans and stuff like that. That's what I use my bags for. And Walmart does have a little place where you can recycle them in the stores. So I mean, again, I love the idea of recycling. I just don't know that this is the way in which I will ever use recycled bags. I've seen people do this in the past, and I've always just kind of wondered why. And again, if you love doing this, please explain to me what you make with this, because I am curious. I won't be making anything else with this in the future just because it irritates me. But if you are curious about what you might want to do with yarn made from plastic bags, maybe you can find that answer in the comments by somebody who works with it. So you guys help each other out in the comments, because for me, I will just be recycling this. Or again, I'm thinking about maybe doing some sort of giveaway. So if anybody wants this, which I do appreciate the fact that this person like made this. So that means you had to like cut it up and tie it together and all of that. Like that was a lot of work. I just don't like it, and I'm so sorry. But now, so we started off with a high. We went to a low here. We're back up to a high with this one, baby. This is so nice. I really like this yarn. Let me show you up close. And again, my lighting today is a little bit wonky, so I feel like this is looking a lot more washed out than it actually looks. So I will try to get a shot of this in natural light so you can see just how gorgeous this is. It does have different shades of pink and kind of cream and brown, which as I'm saying that, it kind of reminds me of Neapolitan ice cream in the very best way. I really do love the way these colors look together. It's so pretty, and it was an absolute breeze to work with. This type of yarn is, I think it says it's a 3-ply, but is very tightly spun together. Such a dream to work with, just so easy. I absolutely love it. I will have to find a lovely special project. I feel like I have so many yarns now that I want to find special projects for, and I don't know what that is going to be, but I am so excited to work with this again in the future. Thank you so much to the person who sent me all of this yarn and for all of the pink. I really appreciate that as well. So that is it for day, what is today? 17, and I will see you tomorrow for day 18. Hello, you guys. It is day 18, and I am feeling the Christmas spirit because I got all of my wrapping done yesterday. That feels so good to have that done in an entire week early before Christmas, to have all my shopping and all of my wrapping done. That is pretty good for me, I do have to say. And today is actually the last day that my kids are in school. They're going to be out for Christmas break starting tomorrow. So it should be interesting trying to film these videos, having them home, but it's going to be fun. We're going to make it work. And also, I do feel like I may need to warn you that today might be the last day that I actually get ready and have makeup on. I might be looking like a troll for the rest of this video, but you know what? we're going to make it work. So let's go ahead and open today's package. I have one that's labeled with a 2 here. So let's get started. Let me actually read the note first. I feel like I should always be reading the note first because it gives me a little bit more context as to what I'm getting into. But sometimes I get so excited and just start opening the yarn first. Thank you so much for the note, and tell Pickles, your cat, that I say hi. And so we are going to go ahead and open this up. They did give me the label for this one. Oh no, it's falling apart. Oh, okay. Well, it fell apart a little bit here, but this is, they said, what was left over from a skein of Lion Brand Landscapes here. And this is in the color Boardwalk. And it is kind of this like roving style of yarn here, if you can see that. And it is all different rainbow colors. They did say that I should be able to pull the center pull, but I like yanked it out in such a way that it's falling apart. Not the person's fault who sent this, but excited to work with that one. And then they said that the other one, they're not sure what it is. They said that and honestly, I have so many yarns like that on my shelf where I'm like, I don't know where you came from. I have no idea. So this one is a gorgeous like blue and purple variegation here. And they did say that they thought that this was probably 100% acrylic, but they couldn't be sure. But we're going to go ahead and, well, actually, let me finish, since I have the label for this one, let me finish reading this to you. So like I said, this is Lion Brand Landscapes. This is a size 4 medium, 100% acrylic. It says to use a 6.5 hook, and it comes with 147 yards. We have what is left here. The texture is really nice. It does kind of remind me though of the other roving type style yarn we use. What was that one called? The Loops and Threads Facets, which that one was a little bit slippery. So I'm wondering if this is going to be slippery as well. Hello, Lily. I can't see her, but Lily came to say hi. So I hope that this is a little less slippery to work with than the Facets, but I don't know. Or maybe it's going to be a little bit more like the Hobie Tea Time, because that one's kind of a roving type style yarn as well. And I really enjoyed that one. So we will see. And then with this one, I have no other information on, but it is quite gorgeous. So we're going to go ahead and make our squares. I'm going to have to do something with this, and I'll check in with you guys once I'm done. Okay, you guys, I finished my 2 squares. They're actually looking so good together. I love that. Let's talk about this one first in the Lion Brand Landscapes yarn, which I did go ahead and look up because I was like, is this discontinued? Because that does keep happening in this series of me trying out a yarn that I like and then it's discontinued. This is not discontinued, which I am happy about. It is available on the Lion Brand website. I do believe it was $6.99. I was a little bit confused because this was an older label. I do think this is just an older label here, but the yarn itself is still in production. And once I looked at it on the website, I was like, oh, I actually have looked at this yarn to review before and just ended up picking something else. But I really, really like this. I love the colors, the way it goes from green into blue into purple. And then I have left here some pink and some gold. The color changes are pretty quick, as you can see there, and really, really pretty. I really like this. As I mentioned, it is like a single ply, roving style of yarn there. And I was a little bit worried that it was going to be more similar to the Facets yarn that I tried last week, which I like the texture of that yarn. And this has a very similar texture to that, although maybe not quite as soft as the Facets yarn, but it is pretty soft and I really like it, but it is 10 times easier to work with. It's not falling off my hook constantly like the Facets yarn. So I am happy about that. I really, really love this. I am sorry if you can hear Lily having her breakfast back there, but I really love this. I'm so glad I got to try this out, and I would definitely repurchase this one. But I was a little bit confused when I was looking this up because I was like, I just finished using the Lion brand Landscapes, but it was a completely different yarn than this. Is why I decided to look it up. So there is this one, which is the Lion brand Landscaped, okay, which is a, single ply yarn like this. But then there's also the Lion brand Landscape Renewed, and it's a completely different kind of yarn. Let me show you. I actually pulled some out here. So it is more of a chainette style of yarn there, as you can see. And I really enjoy this yarn as well. I just finished making a blanket that's actually wrapped under the Christmas tree, so I can't show you, but I'll try to remember to put a picture in. Now, the only thing about this yarn I will say is that it had so many factory knots that made the variegation go the opposite way, which was a little bit frustrating. But other than that, I really like this. It's super soft, super easy to work with. But it's just funny to me that these two have similar names, but they are completely different types of yarn. Although I do like both of them. So now let's talk about the mystery square here, which I think that looks so pretty. So basically this is a dark yarn. I can't tell if it's navy or I think it might be navy, or is it black? I can't actually tell, but it is a dark yarn that then has another strand of variegation yarn where it goes from purple to blue and then kind of back to purple. It is so pretty and it is so easy to work with. Again, it is kind of I don't know what you even call this style of yarn. It's definitely more than one strand, but it's like a little bit more loosely spun, but I didn't have any problems with it splitting. It snagged just a little bit right at first when I was trying to get used to my tension, but other than that, it was super easy to work with. I would love it if somebody could guess what this yarn is in the comments, because I bet somebody knows just from looking at this what yarn this is, because I really like this one as well. So that is both of our squares done for the day. And thank you so much for sending me just like some little bits from your stash. I actually really appreciate that, because that way, the scraps from your stash got some new life here and I can talk about them here on the channel. So thank you so much for that. And I would definitely consider ordering this yarn. So thank you for letting me try it out. So that is it for day 18 as Lily is eating her breakfast in the other room. And I will see you guys tomorrow for day 19. Okay, you guys, welcome to day 19, which means that it is a Friday. And you guys know the drill. On Friday, we open for the weekend. I have a busy, but also at the same time cozy weekend planned. And so I'm going to go ahead and open for days 19, 20, and 21 today. I do have a package here that has a 6. So we will just open 2 for each of those days. So let's go ahead and get started. Ooh, look at that. It's very Christmassy. I'm actually surprised this is the first Christmassy yarn I've gotten so far. That's so pretty. Let's see what it says here on the packaging. So basically it says that they winded this up in their winder, but it was too big. So they gave me the bigger portion. We have a little label here in the center. And it is called Hirschner's Worsted Holiday Sparkle Yarn. Okay, so we'll get a closer look at this label here in a minute, but let's go ahead and open one more. Okay, what is this? Moja Dream Marshmallow yarn. It is a nice chenille yarn. This feels a lot like I always forget the name now, Loops and Threads Posh Pearl. That is the vibes it's giving me, although maybe a little bit thinner than that. So let's go ahead and I'll move the camera around. We'll get a closer look at these before we get started on day 19's crocheting. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is the Hirschner's Worsted Holiday Sparkle. And it is 92% acrylic and 8% polyester. It is a size 4 medium here. What size hook does it say to use? A size I hook. So that is this one. And I will say that it feels pretty good for a sparkly yarn. We will see, because sometimes a sparkly yarn will irritate me and then sometimes it won't. So we will give this one a try in a minute here. And then we have this one, which is again, Moja Dream. I'm not sure how you say that. I've never heard of this one before, but it is called Marshmallow, which is cute. And this is the color white. Did I say the color of this one? Does it have a color? It is called Sweet Tinsel. So there you go. But this one is just the color white. It is a size 5 bulky. And oh my goodness, that print is so tiny. It says to use an 8mm hook, I think right there. And it is a 100% polyester yarn. So we're going to go ahead and start making our squares. And then I'll tell you what I think about these. But it's very Christmas vibes today, which is exciting. Okay, you guys, I did finish both of my squares here. So let's talk about the Hirschner's sparkle yarn first. Look at that sparkle. I do feel like the camera is actually picking it up. Definitely in the green section, not as much in the white section. But as you can see with this square, I did only get to the green and the white. I didn't get to any of the red. So the stripes are decently long on this one. Not terribly long, but longer than I could get to with one square here. I have to say, this is a pretty good sparkle yarn. Now, is the texture the softest thing I've ever felt in my life? No, but it does not irritate me, which I'm so happy to say. I'm pretty sensitive to that. And I feel like all of the sparkly yarns that you guys have given me in this video have not irritated me, which is awesome. So that is that one. And the tail on this is so short because I had finished it and like fastened off and everything. And then I realized that I forgot to add a cluster to one of the corners. And so I had to go back. Anyway, so that is that one. And I mean, yeah, look at her. She looks pretty darn good. And I think that this would make a really nice like Christmas pillow or something like that, some sort of Christmas decor. I wish I would have opened this earlier. If I have time, I will make something with it for Christmas. But yeah, a pretty great Christmas sparkly yarn if you're in the market. I really like this shade of green here. It almost looks like the same shade of green as my hat. Love that. So now we need to talk about the, what is this called? Moja Dream, which looks like that. It's a little bit hard to see the definition on camera there, but this yarn is so soft, so easy to work with. Marshmallow is actually the perfect name for it because it is like nice and squishy. I did say that it reminded me of the Loops and Threads Posh Pearl. I would say it's actually even a little bit softer than that. It just has a really nice soft squishiness to it. I did look this up and it is a yarn that you can find on Amazon in a 3-pack. So the 3-pack cost $17, I believe, which is, you know, a pretty decent price. What does that come out to, like $5 something per $5.50 per skein, something like that, which is a pretty good price considering that you get 120 yards in this. So I love that. And it comes in quite a few different colors as well. I really enjoy this. So thank you so much for letting me try out these 2 yarns. And we are going to go ahead and move on to day 20 and open 2 more yarns from this package. Oh, I forgot to say the most important part of this yarn is that I did sew up the back and I was really going through all of the places that I could to sew it in and it did not shed, which is amazing. I love finding chenille yarns that do not shed. Let's even do like a little bit of a experiment here on the end, which, yeah, check that out. No shedding. That is amazing. Never have heard of this yarn before, so I'm happy to know that this exists, and I probably would purchase this again if I needed this texture of yarn. I said I was done reviewing this, but I'm still going on here. But this one I said is like the Posh, I always want to say the Big Twist Posh because that's what it used to be, but now it's the Loops and Threads Posh Pearl. I said that it felt like that without really describing what that meant. It is like a blanket yarn, but it's thinner than, you know, a burnout blanket or anything like that. And it doesn't have like some chenille yarns have a little bit of a sheen to them that makes them a little bit more velvety. This is not so much on that end of things. It's more on the blanket yarn end of things. But like I said, it is really, really soft and cozy and doesn't shed. So I would definitely recommend this one from the little bit that I tried it on. Now, I probably wouldn't make granny squares with this again. I would probably use this for plushies, but either way, it's a pretty good yarn. So now actually moving on to day 20, let's open 2 more yarns. Okay, what is this one? Okay, this is Baby Bee Adorable in the color Forest. Now, I do believe that this is a Hobby Lobby brand of yarn, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is a Hobby Lobby yarn. I don't personally shop at Hobby Lobby, so I have never tried this. I won't go on that rant, and I don't want to make the person who sent this to me feel bad, but I don't personally shop at Hobby Lobby. There's lots of information out there if you would like to look that up yourself. So I've actually never tried this before. I will give it a try for the video. It is once again green, so we're keeping with the Christmas vibes here. Okay, it feels like another soft one. It's Catch Velvet, which is one of my favorite velvet yarns of all time. I love this yarn, and it's also red. So you were definitely keeping with the Christmas theme here. I don't think I actually ever used this shade of like deep red of Catch Velvet, but I love this yarn. I already know because it is so soft and strong. It does not shed, at least not much. I actually used to work with Catch, the brand, doing some of their social media content. I don't anymore, but not because I don't like the yarn, just because it didn't work out for scheduling wise. But I've actually never made a granny square with this yarn, have I? I don't think so. I think I've really only ever made plushes with the Catch Velvet. So it will be interesting to see how it works up for granny squares. So we're going to make a square with both of these, and then I'll tell you what I think about them. You guys, I am so off my game today. I need to get a closer look at these before we get started. I feel like I'm off my game because my kids are home today, and I did promise them at McDonald's if they could be quiet while I was filming. I did in fact bribe them, yes, with McDonald's. So we gotta get through this so I can get those kids their McDonald's. But anyway, let's get a closer look at these first. This is Baby Bee Adorable in, like I said, the color Forest. This is 92 yards here. This is, what size does it say? I'm not seeing what weight this is. I think this is probably a weight 5, size 5 bulky. Oh, it says it right here. Size 5 bulky. And it does say to use a 9mm crochet hook, which, speaking of millimeters of crochet hooks, I am, again, so off my game today. This one did say to use a 8mm crochet hook, and that was just way too big. I ended up going down to a 6.5, and that worked a whole lot better. So we'll see what we end up using for this one. But again, this does feel like a chenille kind of velvety type of yarn there. And then we have the Catch Velvet, which I love this yarn so much. It is 132 yards here. It is a size 6 bulky. It says to use a 4.5mm. See, that's what's crazy, is this one says to use a 9mm, and this one says to use a 4.5. And also, this one says it's a 6, and this one says it is a 5, and they look to be the exact same. Wait, I'm confused. Anyway, hello, Lily. Lily's confused too. Okay, Lily came in for some pets and distracted me, so I forgot where I was at, but that is both of these yarns for the day. I think I just need to get started on the crocheting. I'm losing my mind a little bit, you guys. Okay, you guys, so I did make the executive decision to go ahead and combine both of these yarns into one square here, which that was for a few different reasons. So first of all, as I mentioned, I thought that these seemed like they were the same size as each other, even though they were marked differently, which is correct. So they combined really well into a square here. Also, I just thought it would make a nice, cute, Christmassy colored square. And then the other reason is because as soon as I started crocheting with the, what is this called, Baby Bee yarn, I was like, oh no, I don't think I like this very much. And I wanted to minimize the amount of time I had to crochet with it. But I will say that this yarn ended up bamboozling me in the end, which, let's talk about it. So when I started crocheting with it, first of all, it does say to use a size 8mm crochet hook, which I tried. and that felt too big. So I went to a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, and that felt too big. And so then I went to a 5.5, and it still didn't feel good. It looked better, but it didn't feel good. And I realized it's just the stiffness of this yarn that I just don't like. I've had another chenille yarn do this for me. I think it was from Hirschner's. I don't remember the exact name of the yarn, but I'll put it on the screen if I can remember. But that yarn as well just had this like stiffness to it that is kind of hard to explain. It just doesn't glide nicely on the hook. Like, it feels soft in the end. Although, you know, I do have to admit that the Baby Bee does not feel as soft as the Catch Velvet. But this Baby Bee, it just doesn't glide nicely on the hook while you're working with it, even though in the end, it feels like it would be a soft, nice yarn to work with. It's actually not. So what I thought going into this yarn is, oh no, it's a chenille yarn. It's going to shed. It's going to be hard to sew with, but it'll be nice to crochet with. It actually ended up being the exact opposite. So this yarn was so easy to sew with. I was actually surprised. I did go ahead and weave in all of my ends just to see. And it barely shed at all. In fact, while I was sewing in the ends, the Catch Velvet actually shed a little bit more than the Baby Bee, which I was absolutely stunned by. Now, when it comes to the Catch Velvet, it is so much easier to crochet with. It just glides like a dream on the hook. No issues with it whatsoever. And I will say that when it comes to the sewing, it always sheds like just a little bit on the cut end, but this one actually seemed to shed a little bit more than normal for me. So I don't know if maybe this was a bad batch, but I will say even on the worst of days with the Catch Velvet, it's so much better than something like a Premier Parfait Chunky where it just falls apart if you look at it funny. This one definitely is, first of all, attached to my arm, but second of all, it just doesn't do that. It does shed, like I said, a little bit. And also some of that could be because these scissors have seen better days. I think it's time to retire them. And so I think like the dullness of these scissors may have caused a little bit more friction on there and caused it to fall apart a little bit more. But it's just not the type of yarn that is going to completely fall apart like other yarns. Like, as you can see, a little bit is coming off, but it's not going to just like disintegrate. And with this one, like I said, it didn't shed at all, which I was so surprised by. It is definitely strong, but I wonder if maybe they treated the yarn with something to make it more strong, but in that treatment, it makes it a lot more stiff and like I said, just doesn't glide nicely on the hook. So there you go. That is our square, which I do think that the square itself looks really cute and Christmassy. Love these two like dark colors, dark red and the dark green together. Looks so good. So that is day 20. So now we need to move on to day 21. And fun fact, December 21st is actually Lily's birthday. So say happy birthday to Lily. She actually is spoiled and already got her present. We picked her out a present and just put it on a shelf in the other room. And I didn't think that she would bother it, but she knew that it was for her. And she kept like leading me in there and like looking at the toy and then looking at me and then looking at the toy and looking at me. I was like, okay, you can have it early. So she actually already is playing with it. But anyway, time to open our yarn for day 21. Okay, this also feels soft. Okay, so this is the first one that is not Christmassy. This is called, what is this called? Oh, I do not know how to say that. Oh Me Out yarn? I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's got a cute little kitty cat on the label. I love that. And this color is actually so perfect for a project that I am going to be working on for my daughter. She is obsessed with and she can probably hear me right now. She is obsessed with the game Stray, and she wants me to make her a little stray cat to put on her backpack. So that's probably what this is going to end up turning into. If I like it, we'll see. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's see what the last yarn of the day is. Oh, there's several in here. Okay, so it is just Chenille Medley, which I actually have tried this one before. I made an owl for, it was just a Dollar Tree challenge video that I did, and I used the black and white version of this, and I really, really love the way that it turned out. So much so that I actually bought some of this exact one, the red and white, but I haven't tried it yet. It's sitting on my shelf and I haven't even tried it. But I love the way this looks. It is the, like I said, medley. So it has the white and the red in it. Love that. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at both of these. But she did send me 2 skeins of this. So there you go. Okay, so this is the, again, I do not know how to pronounce this. Oh me out. I have no idea. Yarn, which just says soft velvet yarn. It does feel very nice and soft. It kind of feels similar to the marshmallow yarn that we just tried. It's got that blanket yarn feel. It does say velvety, but I don't know that it really looks more velvet like, hold on, let me show you the comparison with the Catch Velvet. So can you see that this one has like much more of a sheen to it than this one? That's usually how I classify whether something's more of a velvet yarn or more of a blanket yarn, is if it has more of a sheen to it. Whereas this one does and this one does not. This does say to use a 3.5 to 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. The recommended crochet hook sizes for chenille yarn are just all over the place. It's kind of wild. I never really do what they say on the packaging, or I might try it and then just kind of have to play around to find what works. But I think that's all the information that we have here. It is in this orange kitty cat color, which I love. Let's look at the Just Chenille, Premier Just Chenille Medley, as I mentioned. So if you don't know, this is a yarn that you can usually find at the Dollar Tree. This one is a size 5 bulky. It says to use a 6.5 hook. So again, we've got just all different kind of hook size recommendations here. These little skeins come with, let's see how much yardage. It says 65 yards. This is the color burgundy, which again is a nice Christmas color. This is the only one that is not a Christmas color, which is so funny. So let's go ahead and get started on the crocheting and make some squares. So I did finish my 2 squares here. I did just use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook on both of these just because that's what I had handy and it worked just fine. So let's talk about this one first, the yarn that I still don't really know how to pronounce. And I did try looking this up and I couldn't find this exact yarn anywhere. So whoever sent this to me, you'll have to let me know where you got this. I couldn't find it. I will say that I pulled out this square because they are very, very similar. Although this one I will say is a bit smaller there. Not a ton, but it is a little bit smaller there, as you can see. So, but otherwise, I mean, they are very, very similar. Like if I was blindfolded and I had to feel these 2 yarns, I wouldn't be able to tell them apart. They feel very, very similar. So soft, so squishy. So easy to work with and no shedding. I mean, I don't know how you keep finding these amazing chenille yarns, but I really like both of these a lot. Like I said, this one is just the teeniest bit smaller. Although, did I use a smaller crochet hook? I'm just realizing. I think I did. I did use a bigger crochet hook on this one. So that would explain the size difference. Let's look at the yarns side by side just to see. So here they are side by side there. And they do look extremely similar. I will say that this one is a little bit smoother, while this one is just like the teeniest bit rougher. But as you can see with both of them, putting friction on them, they do not shed, which is amazing. But again, I can't find this one anywhere. So even if I wanted to repurchase it, I'm not sure that I could. But knowing that these 2 are quite similar, I will definitely be reaching for this one. But this is absolutely the perfect color for making that project that I mentioned for my daughter. She is going to love that. And we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but hopefully I will finish this in time to show you in next week's video. But first, we need to talk about the square in, what is this called again? The Just Chenille Medley, which I just love the way that it looks with the color. And then it always has a white shade in there as well. So like I said, I've tried the black and white one, and then this is the like burgundy and white one. I just think that gives such a cool effect. And again, I've never made a square or anything, I don't think, other than amigurumi. I don't think. No, I made a bag one time for my daughters and for my niece with the just chenille, not the metally version, but just the regular one. I did make bags with it. So I worked back and forth in rows on that one. But I've never made a granny square. So this is definitely my first experience making a granny square with this yarn. And I think it turned out really, really cute. And it worked up super well. And I will say that this one is probably, of all of these chenille yarns, the sheddiest chenille yarn yet. Which, you know, Premier, the just chenille yarn that you get at the Dollar Tree, I'm willing to put up with because of the fact that it's $1.25 per skein, and I live within walking distance to a Dollar Tree, so it's nice sometimes to just go down there and grab it, but it does shed a bit. What I usually end up doing when it comes to sewing amigurumi together is just to attach an acrylic yarn or something like that that's a little bit easier to sew with. I try to find one in a matching color. I don't always want to have to do that. And so I love finding chenille yarns where I don't have to do that, where I can do all of the crocheting and the sewing with it and not have to attach a different yarn. I know that it's always an option. I don't want to have to do that. But again, I will tolerate this one because of that cheap price and because it's more accessible to me. I don't have a ton of places in town where I can get yarn. And so I do tolerate it for that reason. But, you know, is it my favorite of the chenille yarns we've tried? No, but I do think that it looks really, really cool. And again, I do have an entire plushie that I made out of this, which it's a really cool effect when it comes to plushies, especially with that black and white color. I loved it so much. So again, I am willing to put up with working with it if, you know, it looks so cool like this. And again, the crocheting is good. It's just the sewing that's a little bit So that does bring us to the end of day 21. Thank you so much to the person who sent me all of these mostly Christmassy colored yarns, but I'm happy that this one is the perfect color. I don't know how you knew, but this is the perfect color that I need for a project. So I love that. Okay, so let's take a look at all of our squares together here before I say goodbye. I love so many of these squares. It's hard to choose a favorite, but I really like this one right up here. That was both of these really, that were the yarns that were hand spun. I love those. But as far as the way that a finished square looks, I really love the way this one looks. The Lion Brand, what was it again? Landscapes. I love the way that one looks as well, but you'll have to let me know what your favorite square is. And now on to the outro. And so that does bring us also to the end of week 3. It has been such a fun week, and I cannot believe that we only have 3 more days of this series. So for the last week, what I'm going to do is go ahead and open for days 22, 23, and 24. And then I'm going to show you everything that I have been working on with the yarns, which unfortunately is not as much as I wish that it was, but hopefully I can get some good crocheting done over this weekend in between everything I've got going on, and I can show you guys some really cool projects. What I have so far is really great, and so stay tuned for that. And as always, if you've made it to this part of the video, I want to know, what were you working on as you watch today's video? Of course, like and subscribe and do all the things that you're supposed to do at the end of the video, and I will see you guys next week.